Okay, so you guys can stay seated. Obviously, there's no physical fitness in this portion unless you want there to be. You can stand up at any time. Engagement is a giant portion of when we teach. So for me, I think in my story of teaching group exercise, that's probably where it all started for me. Was I was active in my community. I was young. I was already working at the YMCA. I knew a lot of people. I was connected to people, so I started off that way with not a lot of knowledge in group exercise, so it kind of started backwards for me. But this is huge. The 3 points of engagement, this is small writing, so you won't be able to see very well anyway, so I'll just make sure I get that information to you over there. 3 key points of engagement in the PIO training is importance of engaging in the room. So in the aerobic room, that is where you need to be the most connected and the most engaging with your participants. Or even out on the floor, like those of you who work at big gyms, or even when you're coming in and out of the lobby or the entryway, it starts right when you get out of your car. It starts in the parking lot, it starts even on social media. Like we were talking about earlier, the things that we should and shouldn't maybe post on social media, all of those things our audiences are watching all the time. So if you have kids, and really you have to just be careful what you allow your audience to see, or how much you want, or what image you want to portray to them. So it all starts really from the outside in to the classroom, but huge in the classroom. The next key point is different personality types. So do you ever have the same exact person times 20 in the room, and they all just act the exact same like a cookie cutter and it's all good and gravy? Not usually. You have some Susans that have an attitude, you have some Beckys in the back that are really shy and they are just trying to exercise for the first time. You have some divas up in the front that trying to take your class over, and you want to step over and be like, all right girl, take it over. So you have all these different personality types, and so we're like a chameleon. Like we have to be up here and constantly be roaming the room and feel the energy off of each person, and then deliver that piece of engagement to everybody, so everybody feels connected with you as an individual, which is a really big job if you think about it. But clearly you guys are all really good at that because you do what you do and you know how that feels, right? You guys all know what I'm talking about. You're like, yeah. And sometimes we have a really hard time engaging with individuals. Like there's been so many times in my classes, I've been teaching for a long time, where I just cannot figure out somebody. I feel like, you know, Becky comes in the back and Becky comes right on time. She doesn't allow me to talk to her. She jumps in the class, she doesn't look at me, she doesn't smile at me, she doesn't laugh at my jokes. I just feel like, oh, and then she leaves. But a lot of times I found out that Becky has a different story and Becky just doesn't want to talk and be engaged with. So that's fine. Try not to take those things personal. They are coming back to your classes, so you do know that they are enjoying the workout that you're providing for them. So try not to get too torn on that. I know I've taken some personal roller coasters with that whole emotional side of being an instructor. It's hard. So the different personalities is the next one, and then the last one, or in PIO training specifically, is there's 3 different opportunities that you can engage or connect with your students. When do you guys think those opportunities are, those windows?
Before, during, and after.
Right. Before class, you have like usually a gym or a fitness director who wants you to show up for your class like what? 10-15 minutes early, is that about right? So 10-15 minutes early allows you to get into the hallway or the classroom entryway and welcome everybody in and just kind of have that chitter chatter before class so they can get to know you as a person too. And you want to be careful how much person you show, because sometimes too much into our lifestyle might be too much because it might ruin the experience depending on how much you want them to know about your personal life, right? So yeah, before class is a huge opportunity for you to get to know people's names, have them sign in on a sign-in sheet, collect social media information, like, hey, if you guys want to be friends on Facebook, like here's a way you can reach out to me. I always share my business cards. That way people can connect if they want to. I don't force it by any means. And then during class, it's a little more difficult. When you guys say it's a little more difficult to really connect and engage when we're already thinking about the exercises, the movements, the cueing. There's 25 different personalities, so we're trying to engage with all these different people and create a really good experience for everybody. So that one's a little more difficult, I think, And we'll get into that in just a minute. And then of course after class is another easier way than during, because we can catch them before they go out the door. How many of you guys, do you guys feel like it's more prominent to engage before or after? What are your experiences? Or both?
Morning, yeah. If it's morning, not after.
They want to get out of there. Usually while we're like stretching and cooling down is when we have the most engagement, just because some people in my class come in really late, so we don't have
That time to talk like right away, and you're already in the exercise with the
I think it
program.
depends on the timing too, because if I teach like an early morning class, some of them are leaving before we're even finished stretching because they're going to work or whatever.
Yeah.
But then on like an evening or like a Saturday morning, I may have ladies that are like, oh, we're gonna go to coffee, like who, you know, people, you know what I mean?
They
So it
invite
just
everybody
depends,
and they're more chill on their time schedule. I think so too, and it fluctuates for me. I think the style of engagement changes in the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. In the middle, they're mad at you because you're making them work out and there's not that personal connection, like you're their friend. Now you're their coach and their instructor. In the beginning, I think people's moods are kind of like, I don't really want to be here. I'm tired, or I drag myself here, like, hi Lacey. And then by the end, it's like, it's an emotional roller coaster. At the end, they're like, awesome class, that was so good, let's talk for 20 minutes. So usually for me, I get it afterwards. I think that people really stay around and I'll sit in the room or whatever for a good amount of time. In fact, my husband will start blowing up my phone if I'm there too long. He's like, are you coming? I'm like, yes, my students love to stay and talk. So those are the three different areas, key points of engagement with PIO training. So we just kind of talked a little bit about what that looks like, but how do you guys feel like engagement is so important, or why do you guys feel like engagement is so important? Since it's a small group, we can just talk amongst us, just shout things out.
Keeps them coming back. That's what I was going to get to know you.
They feel connected to you, like you're their friend, and like encourager.
It comes to feel like a safe space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a judgment-free zone where you just can come and you feel comfortable.
Like it's home. So, I totally agree with that. I think they come back. I don't know how many times you guys see regular faces. They don't come back because they don't like you. They come back because they like you and they like what you're doing in the classes. Not because they like to just come hang out and they don't even like your presence and they like the facility. It's usually because of you as the instructor. So that's even more motivating for me to be nicer to people when I'm out in my community, to be involved in my community, because it gets me more students. Like I volunteer all the time in my downtown area or in my community in general, and I like it, don't get me wrong, but 9 times out of 10, my conversations that I have around my volunteerism is about my fitness classes. They'll go, oh my gosh, I need to get to your fitness class. Give me your business card. Okay, I sure will. So it's a win-win to get involved in your community and be engaged in a bigger picture than just in the classroom as well. You want people to know who you are. So go ahead and shout out some things that you guys feel like are beneficial or that are benefits of engagement or connective. I know we kind of mentioned why it's good, but what are some additional benefits of engagement? So if you're able to engage with your students in the classroom, what else could happen?
Friendships.
They're not themselves.
Yeah.
They get more
say
out of
good
it
job.
and make them feel good.
I made my best friends.
I say friendship, yeah.
Friendships are huge. Yep. And then, for us too, like I've honestly replaced half of my high school friends, or maybe all of them, with older students in my class. Like all of my friends are like 50 plus, and those are my friends, that's who I make.
Accountability, I think, too.
Accountability is huge.
For
Because what
students and for
happens-
ourselves.
If they know that they've become a regular and then all of a sudden they dip out and they're not there for a while, they know either a participant or an instructor is going to be looking for them. So they know that if they come to group exercise classes, they're going to be accountable.
I
That's
create a
huge.
Facebook group for all of the people who take my classes, and I call it the Fit Posse.
That's cool.
And anyone, I give everyone an invitation when they enter my class. I'll post it, or I'll put a paper up on the mirror and say, here's the link to my Facebook group. It's Alicia's Fit Posse. I'd love for you to join it. And in that group, I will message someone if I notice that they've been gone for a week. Hey, what's going on? You come every week. Why haven't you been here the last 2 weeks? Something's going on. What am I going to do to bring you back? Are you hurt? What's going on? And another thing I'll do is, sorry to hijack this
Oh, you're fine.
segment. one other thing I'll do is, if there's a new person coming in and I see them really uncomfortable, I'll grab someone from the Fit Posse and I go get them.
Yeah.
Invite them in, introduce yourself, have them, cause I remember that first class, guys, like it was yesterday, you know, and being as scared as I was and as overweight as I was and just uncomfortable in my skin, that having someone go up and say, hey, my name is Jennifer, you're gonna love this class, it's so much fun, I'm happy to have you here, come in, have a good
Yes.
time.
You felt more welcome.
Huge,
It's like
huge, it's
automatically
huge.
you feel like a weight's lifted off of you. So a couple other things, like this is totally off of the training, but just some things that I've done in the past to build up my clientele. At one point, I will not say that that's the truth at this point, I own my own studio now. When I was at the YMCA, I easily could have 50 to 60 people in my classes. And I was teaching, this is before Zumba, I was teaching hip hop aerobics. And I would just, and I already had that 50 and 60 people in my class, so I really didn't even have room for anybody else. But I loved the sense of engagement amongst me to them and them to each other, that I would do stuff fun. Like I'd bring, I'd joke around and say, you can have one piece of candy on Halloween, and I would have everybody dress up as something, and we would bring candy. Or on random hot days, I would bring tea that I made from home, or fresh vegetables that I pulled from my garden. And I would just let them know that I was there for them too, and I was just a human being, and I was there to be in their support group too, and not just the instructor. Like I wasn't just coming to be like this fantastic person to be up in the front of the room. So I was just one of them as well. So that's kind of cool. And then to build clientele, I was getting all of their email addresses. This is before like social media was really big. I was just collecting email addresses. Like they'd sign in on the regular sign-in sheet, and then I'm like, hey, if you guys want additional information, or if you want private invitations, go ahead and jot your email address down, and I'll get in contact with you in addition. Kind of like a newsletter thing. So if you're looking to build your business, that's another thing. So go ahead and shout out some things. You guys don't even need to raise your hand, such a small group. Some examples of how instructors can connect before class. So maybe things that you guys do, or that you wish you would do, or know you should do before class. How can you engage?
I teach on Mondays, so usually I'm asking how their weekend was. Like,
That's good.
if I know a lot of them personally, so I'll ask. Sometimes we know like how something specific went, or my silver sneakers. Sorry to hijack the conversation, but my silver sneakers class, we always talk about book recommendations.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
And then everybody sharing about books.
Yeah.
But that's
So
the
every week we
generation
just bring
though.
it back into, or we talk about things just carry from week to week about what we, once we start something, it kind of just carries. Like,
But that goes back to what you were talking about in the queuing, like knowing your audience. So then you know your audience, the senior audience is not
Yeah.
gonna talk about the same thing that your 20-year-old class is
Not
gonna
gonna talk about going out and.
No,
Yeah.
I wanna
Yeah.
talk about what we do in the garden.
Right. So then you have to mature like a lot of years.
Oh, I
when
mean,
you
which
teach your
I
seniors.
fit more in with them pretty much than the other classes.
I used to teach seniors too, and I was so scared to death when I first started teaching, because I was like, I'm teaching hip hop, and then I'm gonna teach seniors, like this is, and they knew
Exactly.
what I did, so they had a stigma already when I walked in, so I had to be sweet as pie and try really, really hard, so. So yeah, those are good. Anybody else have examples of like, what do you do before your class starts to kind of get people pumped up, or let them know that you see them,
If
engage
they're
with them?
new, I just will I'll walk the room if there's anyone new, like introduce myself. And then I always, even like at the beginning, I don't, with certain ones of my classes, like I'll try to just explain like a rundown of what we're gonna do in class, and just say like, hey, I'll do some modifications, like, you know, whatever you guys do, like just keep moving and have fun, that's what it's all about, like those kind of things to
Just
try to
lighten
like,
the mood and just
yeah,
kind of
so that people don't automatically feel like you're jumping around and I can't do that, so like try to
Yeah.
engage them and figure out where they're at.
Yep.
Playing music to set the tone
Yeah.
as well. Like as soon as I walk into a class, I'm coming in after, cardio kickboxing class, I have to change the music. Or if I'm coming in after yoga, I gotta change my music and make sure I'm setting the tone for the people coming in.
Yeah, that's hard sometimes too. Like some of you guys probably have 5-minute gaps or less in between class to class, and that's actually probably a better example, because there's usually some music going on between classes from the last instructor to you, or there's a very small window where there's not music. But if you have the rights to come in early, like I own my own studio space, so I get up there like 15 to 20 minutes, and I try to hit play even when I'm still setting up for class. Like I'll just hit whatever's on, and I'll start going sweep and whatever I gotta do. So that when someone comes from work, or they're not quite awake yet in the morning, they're getting like, okay, I get a little bounce in my step, and some things are happening for them. So, awesome examples. Okay, let's go to, give me some examples you can engage with people and connect with your students in the middle of class, anytime from warm up to cool down.
I ask questions sometimes to gauge like where they're at, like if it's in the middle, like for this, you know, if you're in the power one, I would maybe like say a little something to just make sure that no one's heart rate is up too much, but that it's also up enough that they're not.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Yeah.
Are you guys feeling this, or
Yeah,
is it
asking
too much or
questions.
too little? I ask that a lot, I guess.
And sometimes you'll get zero feedback.
Oh yeah, they all
And
don't say
like
anything,
crickets,
but
like-
whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Then I'm
my
like, oh, I guess you guys are really loving
That's
tonight,
exactly.
you know?
I'm like, okay, never mind.
But I always joke, and sometimes it's serious. I feel like am I the only one out of breath? Like, am I really out of shape?
yeah.
I'm like
That's
sweating
what, I'm like, you
bullets.
guys are doing better than me, so
Yeah.
that's fine.
So I guess you guys are fine. I'm gonna move on. Right? Anything else in the middle of class or no?
I usually tell them to smile. It's
Yeah.
because they're all concentrating,
Intense.
so serious, and I'll say, smile.
Yep.
They usually do. Most of them do.
They normally probably are like.
It's like a gritty smile. So something that I do, and you guys are probably gonna go, oh yeah, I do that too. I will try to learn everybody's names, or if I don't, I'll try to learn it really fast. And I'll just say something kind of quiet, like under my breath, and kind of pick on somebody, but in a really appropriate way. Like it's never anything that would ever offend anybody, I hope. But I'm like, I see you over there getting low in those squats, Shirley, or whatever. And I'll wink or something just to make them feel like special. And I wink a lot, or like I'll make a silly face at somebody because I know that they know me. So I'm like, oh, I hate this too, just like you do. Just one more, you could do it. So those like personal connections that make you a real person versus just like a smiling instructor the whole time, because they're gonna be like, I hate you if you do that the entire time. I've noticed that. I think.
Fitness robot, no one
Yeah.
wants a fitness robot.
So just being real is engaging in itself. And then lastly, after class, what are some engaging ways that you can
I would say high five your neighbor.
love that?
I just always try to like encourage them, or especially like ones that I can maybe tell like it's a struggle, to really go over and like pat them on the back and be like, girl, you rocked it today, or do
Yeah.
something little to kind of encourage them.
And they love that. And then that gives them an opportunity to maybe ask you questions because you came around them and they were probably shy to ask you those questions anyway.
I try to always make sure too that like I'm there for a little bit if there is time between. If not, I'll say like, hey, I'm gonna step outside so you guys have anything, just in
Meet
case.
me out there.
Yeah, someone has some.
Sharing your schedule too, because you probably teach more than one class. You know, I'm gonna be back here again Thursday for Turbo Kick at 10:45. I'd love for you to join me for that.
Another idea on that too is helping your co-instructors out too. We're all a team in a facility, and it's never just one of us that works together. So we always want to invite people at maybe in the cool down section to your classes, but then also don't forget about your friends' classes. Like say, hey guys, I'm going to be here on Thursday at 6 o'clock. I'd love to have you, but if you can't make it, Susan teaches at 2 p.m. on Monday, and it's similar, and I think you'll really like it. You guys should give it a shot. Or if your facility has stuff, that's engaging if you invite them personally and say, hey guys, we have a Halloween festival coming up next Sunday. I'd love to see you guys there. I'm gonna be there with my kids. That stuff's like, ooh, then I get a chance to see Lacey in a family setting, like outside of class. They feel like they can hang out and stuff like that. So those are all really good things. We're gonna take just a couple of minutes since it's a small group. We're not gonna take the full allotted time of 10 and 15 minutes since we talked so much in a private or more of an exclusive setting here today. We're gonna talk a little bit more about those engaging things before. So basically taking everything you guys just said for before, during, and after classes, how to engage with your students, and writing them down in a list. So you guys can do that really quick if you have notebook paper, or if not, you can get some paper from me. So you guys can do that individually if you want to, since it's a small group, and then you guys can just kind of shout those out, which I probably will just skip that since we just did it impromptu. So still just write them down, maybe that way it's a reminder for yourselves. Or if you got some ideas from your neighbor today, you can steal their ideas, I'm sure they won't mind. Actually, that high five thing that you said, I got that at a conference, the instructor after class, I think it was Zumba or something, real high energy. And she's like, high five your neighbor. And she was walking around afterwards high fiving. I'm like, that is so awesome. Like, it's just so connective and allows you to like see them like face to face versus like 5 rows, you know, up there. So that's cool. sometimes it's awkward. To
It
like
breaks
get
the ice. It
real close.
makes people feel more comfortable once they.
Sorry, I got small.
No, you're
small.
fine. I was trying to think of how to write the word neighbor, and I know it's not written up there anyway, so.
No.
I don't know why I looked up at the word.
Neighbor.
Daniel Tiger's neighborhood, you know.
I kept forgetting.
I got
It's
it.
the life I'm
2-year-old,
living these
5-year-old,
days.
yeah. She's getting there with her 1-year-old too.
Yeah,
so she's getting there.
he likes Paw Patrol.
Oh, my 5-year-old still loves Paw Patrol.
Yeah,
Loves
worrying
Paw
for the
Patrol.
Say, go, go. He's crying, he wants to watch Paw Patrol. Go.
That's funny. So you guys got all just a handful like before,
Yeah.
during, and after. Just give a few examples, just kind of for your own information, since we just talked about that as a group. And then this next one, we'll do individually as well, and I'll just have you guys read them out loud if you want to, which I think that you guys should, because it gives us all examples of what maybe somebody else's welcome introduction looks like. Go ahead and write like maybe a paragraph that if you were to verbally say it out loud, which you guys will, it'll be about a minute long. Just go ahead and write what your welcome or your introductory would look like at your class. So on a typical day, in your class that you teach the most, maybe just kind of share with us what that looks like when you're welcoming your students in. Did you catch that okay?
So
Like
what
an
looks
introduction, like, hi, my name is blah. If you're new today, welcome. Like, what do you guys say, or what ideally should you or could you say? That would be a good introduction. Because Lord knows every day's different. Some days like you're getting there 5 minutes early and somebody's late and you don't get that opportunity to say everything fluffy that you want to. Give you guys just like maybe another 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
That's kindergarten teacher queuing.
I know. And wrap it up. Well, when you work at the YMCA for so long, even when you're in adult fitness, like I don't know how many times I've had to step in and be like a preschool supervisor or hurry up, get your butt in there, or somebody needs to show up for fit kids, and I'm in there with it, you know. Plus I have 3 of my own kids, so you kind of become like a kindergarten teacher when you're a mom.
I'm in college to be an early ed teacher.
Yeah, so you're
That was
learning,
my
but then you have your own
biggest
too.
life before fitness. I
Yeah.
taught 3rd grade.
That probably won't ever be my life actually teaching, but at least I have my degree,
No?
I guess.
Yeah, you will. You can
Yeah.
do other things with it too.
Yeah.
I teach
I
like,
don't use my degree.
you could teach it you could use it for fitness. Like I teach a kids hip hop class
That's awesome.
in my community, and like the kids in my community love this class. And I do, like I'm a totally different person with the kids, obviously.
yeah.
So it's funny when my adult parents bring their kids to my class and see me interact with their kids, they probably think I'm like the corniest person ever after that. Like they can't even look at me seriously. Cause I get way down on their level. Alright, does anybody wanna share first? Just give us kind of what your welcome looks like to your class and that introduction.
I'll go.
Okay.
I just normally say something like, good morning ladies, like thanks so much for coming. If any of you guys don't know me, my name is Courtney. Just follow along with me. I'm gonna show you modifications, so don't feel like you have to go full force. And more important than anything, just smile, have fun, and keep moving, and we're gonna all get through this together. And then I just normally start my music.
That's awesome. So what happens, do you get many guys?
If I do, then I just change my
Yeah, of
wording,
course.
but it depends on the class. But even like my boot camp ones and stuff, like a lot of the guys I think are like, this is a ladies class.
I know, guys usually think that all classes are
Yeah,
for
group
ladies.
fitness.
I love when guys come because I like act like a guy kind of when a guy comes, because I'm trying to make them really comfortable. So I drop my feminine and I'm like getting all down there and crazy with them, and they eat that up. Like they think that's the funniest. Like I'll do push-ups with them, and the wives and all that. They think it's hilarious. So I don't know if they like it or not, but
My favorite is when the wives bring their husbands and
Yes.
one time I had this guy, middle of flow, go, "Is anyone else dying but me? How do you do this for an hour?"
you're like, thank you for being honest. And then all the women are like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you big sissy.
Yeah, but we don't say anything. We're like, we earned our
This
stripes
is
today.
hysterical.
Anything else, or you want to? Did you?
I mean, I just usually say, hey everyone, for those that don't know, my name's Katie. I usually am like, depending on the day, I say it's a beautiful day, or even when it's not outside, I say it's a beautiful day usually.
Yeah.
They laugh. And I say, I'm glad you guys made it this morning, and if someone didn't make it the last time, I usually pick them out and say, except for you, you didn't make it last time.
Missed you.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. Yeah, and then I just give a preview of the class and get started usually.
Basically, we say, everybody to sweat.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Everybody's always surprised at how much you sweat.
Yes, in Pio.
Yeah.
And I love when there's the misinterpretation of what it is on paper. They're like, it said yoga and Pilates fusion class, and I'm like, yeah. It's not the Zen. It's definitely, you get the benefits of both of those in a nutshell, but it's also some sweat. So, but everybody seems to like it, and anybody can take it at their own pace. So that's always good. All right. So we all know and agree that engagement is humongous when it comes to leading your class participation, getting them back in there, being involved not only in the classroom but in like your community and your facility, being a good role model, etc. Just to get that experience for your participants.
Awesome.
I think that's it for engagement.
Good job.
Good job.